Welcome, ladies and gents. Revolution Pod back in the house. Javier in the house, victorious. It's June 30th, the end of the almost July here, 2025. In this episode 126, we're going to get into, is Bitcoin too expensive? That's a topic we're going to dive into. Is it too expensive? Right now, the price, I don't know, what do you got up there, Victorious? What do you got, Victor?
I'm gonna throw it up.
We got the price up there. This is in USD.
$7,000.
107. I got 107,416. Yep, same
Yep,
same
four. Yeah,
thing.
402. You know what I'm saying? But one
Yep.
hundred 7,373. It's going up. It's going a little bit down.
That's where
Here
we
we are.
stand. That's where we stand here at the end of June, at the start of July, 2025. 100. We'll call it 107,000. Right? We'll call it 107.
Sure. Yeah.
So as we go into that, is it too expensive? What do you think? What are your thoughts? Overall, general thoughts on, is Bitcoin too expensive at 107,000?
Yeah, I mean, to anyone just kind of getting right into it, you look at it, you see it, you see $107,000. You might even ask, like, what does that mean? That's too much. Yeah, I mean, on the outside, 100%. Looking in, it sounds and seems almost insane. So at 107,000, I guess the short answer to it to anyone, it might be, honestly, it might be yes, it might be too expensive. It might be, I might be waiting for it to go down to like a 90. I saw it down at 74, so maybe, right? Maybe I can get at 74. Those are things that, I don't know if people are really thinking of that, fam, going into it, but that's kind of the short, long-winded answer to it all.
No,
But that's not necessarily my opinion. I think that's like the general perception. Again, I like to play what we call the devil's advocate, seeing it at all sides, you know?
no, that's legit. I just think in general, when people say 100, getting a whole Bitcoin, yes, yep, that is kind of expensive, right?
Yes.
If you get 107,000 and you don't have to scrounge out, or you have access to that capital, and get a Bitcoin, get a whole one.
Right.
But yeah, you can buy bits and pieces of it. We talk about it all the time. Dollar cost average. We talk about lump sum, anything, and whatever you can do. Any extra fiat that you have, turn it into Bitcoin. I did, before you just went hot, I just looked up on Grok. By the way, if we're not, we've talked about this all the time. If you're not using AI, please step into 2025.
1,000%.
So I looked up the historical price on the 4th of July for Bitcoin since it started. So it started in 2009, wasn't traded. I'm going to share my screen here, see if I can't do that. It started in 2009. It wasn't traded in 2009. So really the first price is in 2010. I'm going to share my screen. 2010, it was 9 cents for a Bitcoin. 2011, $15.40. 2012, $6.63. This is all on the 4th of July in all these years. 2013, $84. 2014, $138. And it dropped in 2015. That was like kind of the first, major drop, right? It
That's
went
crazy.
it went from 638 to 258.
So,
2016,
fam, I just put it in perspective. Like, I just celebrated my 10-year anniversary, by the way. Congratulations, baby. But like,
unbelievable. Congrats.
100%, but like 10 years, fam. Like, what? I was in Jamaica, fam. Like, getting ready to go to Jamaica. Like, the thought, obviously, I know that. I mean, at that point, I probably did hear Bitcoin, but the thought, fam, that it was what, 200?
$258. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. 2016, 676 bucks. 2017,
Should have said forget the
2400.
ring.
2018, $5,300. 2019, $10,000. 2020, just 5 years ago, was $9,000 for a Bitcoin. 2021, $33, big jump there. Excuse me, 33,000. 2022 dipped to 19,000.
Hmm.
2023 jumps up to 30,000. 2024, 62,000. And I think these are like rough. It's probably not spot
No,
on,
no,
right?
no. Yeah, but I mean, even if you do
But
the
it
whole of it
it paints a
all and
picture
just
there. And now currently, like we said before, we're at 107,000. So you can kind of add that to the chart. What are your thoughts on, again, if we want to take that knowledge and say, is it too expensive still, Vic? Like if we're going off of historical knowledge, right? That's what I'm trying to allude to.
But my thing, fam, is like, okay, so over time, right, the price gets larger, right? But that price, when it rises up from 107 to 110, there's a market cap that goes with that. Okay? It's a market cap. So total dollar amount that is going into it. And that to me, the minute I kind of hit that mark and I started to realize that, fam, that's when it started to really hit me. And we've talked about this, and this is kind of one of my topics that I talk about it with Bitcoin being too expensive is comparing it to other assets, right? And seeing where it kind of stands with market cap. Gold is the ultimate leader, $23 trillion market cap, give or take. Then you've got, from what I understand, Bitcoin's at like six right now, just past silver, sneaking on Microsoft or, one of them. I don't want no disrespect to Microsoft. I think that's the one, and this is my favorite one. I mean, what you're pulling up right now is by far my favorite. Oh, it's the market cap, and this is what I'm speaking of. You're talking about, and again, Microsoft is three, so it was Amazon that were creeping on, but this is old though, fam.
I mean, it's
Actually,
107,000.
I take that back. Let me look.
It's
My,
107,000. It's
yeah,
not too
two,
bad.
two. Sorry, I'm crushing the camera right now because I'm
No,
gonna
no,
zoom it
that's
in real
okay.
quick. 2.13. No, no, you're right. This is updated.
So yeah,
Oh, but
no, but right to your point, Victorious. This is a 16-year-old asset, right? 16 years old. All these companies, they've been around what, 20, 30, 40, 50 years? Maybe
yeah,
not Nvidia, but Nvidia's like a lightning in a bottle type of thing. Gold has obviously been around for what, 5,000 years?
yeah, just
Silver's been around for like 8,000 years, but look at all these companies established that it's passed up already. And yeah, is it too expensive? I guess, but look at, to me, all this money, right, is going to be flowing into Bitcoin eventually, right?
yeah. I mean, again, it's part of the knowledge frame. It's understanding, and we talked about it in the episode right before this. It's before you can understand Bitcoin. It's understanding money, understanding dollars, understanding what's out there in the world. Essentially, the idea is that all those assets, or a good majority of them, will pour into Bitcoin. And that's what the projections are saying. I think when you really do the deep research, the deep AI of it, Michael Saylor says it the best. Every Bitcoin you don't buy is going to cost you what, $13 million, fam. So
Yeah.
uh,
And he's even updated that to, I think, 21 million. But nonetheless, I think, we're talking about the same thing. I think what we're beating around the bush to saying, like, no, go get Bitcoin still. Go get your chunks of Bitcoin. Go get any, if you got a spare 10, $20. I know, Victoria, so you're talking about, you're buying slices here and there whenever you can. I'm buying slices here and there whenever I can. Just
yeah,
get in the game. That's really all you have to do, is get in the game. It's already gone to 107,000. The US, I think they're passing the big beautiful bill that's going to add, I think, like 2 to 5 trillion to the debt that's already at 36 trillion. So I mean, that train's not
Bill,
stopping.
Bill got a lot of people hot.
As long as that's going, as long as that fiat keeps printing, is the 21 million
Mm,
fixed supply, that's going to stay sturdy. Then we're going to talk into supply and demand. People are going to finally figure out, like, I don't want these melting ice cubes called dollars. Bought a bag of potato chips today with my lunch. Okay, the same bag. Everyone knows these little bag of potato chips that when we were young was 25 cents. You
yeah,
know,
full of air, fam.
no free ads, so no free adverts here, but half of it was air. But yeah, there was the bag of crisps, fam, and 25 cents, perfect. Now I just went to grab one, was a buck 50.
Unbelievable.
Same bag of chips, same half air. Come on, man. I mean, talk
Nah,
about
nah, nah.
inflation.
It's not good. It's not good.
So
It's
the
not good.
things just, we're not getting the same value with the dollar. And that's what, everyone's like, oh man, that's been the currency that's done the best. It's devalued so bad, and it's done the best out of all the currencies out there. From what do you got up there?
I just talk about like the future potential, right? And we talk about just the market cap and what are some reasons why, right? Bitcoin, what why would the market cap increase? What are reasons to see Bitcoin rising? What are some reasons? So institutional adoption, regulatory, clarity, technological advancement. I mean, within those three there, you're talking about institutions that are already adopting. We're already talking about it. Many, 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 many of these institutions going in, these Bitcoin mining, all of that, fam. Even talking down, even the sovereign nation, the building, game theory, that falls into, in some respects, a part of that. It might even be a whole nother section. Then you get into, clarity and regulatory, right? And the government, buying into it and saying, yo, it is not illegal. You can use it. Again, I talked about it the last episode. Point, just the fact that cryptocurrency being talked about. And then the third thing, just technological advancements, right? We talked about it. I think even in the last episode, I opened up with Lightning. You said Lightning Network, but like, improvements in Bitcoin and the speed, and then having it be more appealing to people. It's only a matter of time, fam. These are things that, in my opinion, are going to drive the price up, and things that I look into when I talk to, my little AI about.
Now, Victorious, I think you're exactly right. When you mentioned the game theory too, like we talk about nations coming in, we talk about more regulatory action coming in from governments. Obviously, a crypto-friendly administration with the Trump administration. We got the crypto czar, David Sachs. He's in there. Great. He's awesome podcast. Those guys are on too. But yeah, fam, I think all avenues, all kind of things are pointing towards what we have done the knowledge on already. What we think is. And again, this is no financial, right? We'll always throw the disclaimer out there, but like,
Never financial advice. Do your own research.
I think people are gonna finally figure out, like, like we just talked about, how long can we go? If you look at like the value of houses, we've talked about that chart relative to Bitcoin. We just think that I'm gonna share this screen here as far as the total assets, distributed across, all kinds of global wealth
Mm,
here. Picture Michael
yep.
Saylor. Yeah, we see Bitcoin is 2 trillion here. Out here, this little tiny bit. Gold 16 trillion. And I wonder, does that line up with this? This is 22 trillion. So this is probably even old, right? This is probably even old. But where do you think this Bitcoin is going to go into? Art? Jeez, Louise. Art is 18 trillion. What the frig is art?
Respectfully, I'm not going to be buying art.
Cars and collectibles? What the frig? That's 24 million or 24 trillion worth of assets. What do you think's gonna? You think people are gonna get rid of dusty art and these dusty collectibles?
I mean, I'm looking at this like little line here that Lucas got at like this like art. So I mean, I guess it's still around.
Yeah, I guess, that's really what it should be like though, is like little fun little collectibles like that. Not like, I don't know. I just, to me, fam, the writing is on the wall. We want to get into those assets. We want to get into the one asset that has the fixed supply. We want to get into the one asset that is being scooped up by, I think, there's now 70 Bitcoin treasury companies that are following strategy, Michael Saylor book, playbook. So now we've got, not only just strategy, MicroStrategy that's out there dominating. They've got 70 plus other companies following lead, fam. Are all these companies dumb? We've got people, like your boy Pomp. We've got people, plenty of people.
I mean, I look at Jack Mallers, young. I
Come
look
on.
at Pomp, maybe 15 years older, and then I look at someone like Sailor, like 15 years older. So you're talking about like three separate generations of people covering
This
Bitcoin.
is all
And for
recent.
me,
This is all recent stuff too. This is not.
it's like, that to me, it's like, come on.
Look up the price that Fidelity has for predicting Bitcoin. There's all kinds of wild predictions. Like we just said though, Victorious, if you're looking at what the US debt is, 36 trillion, and they just keep adding to it, why wouldn't the value of Bitcoin keep going up?
Right, right, right. Yeah,
Literally,
again,
literally just basic supply and demand. If they can just dilute and dilute and dilute and dilute dollars.
think I think the next thing, and at some point we'll get to it, fam, but it's not even so much about convincing people, but I think,
No.
well, for me, it's about if we're bringing knowledge, right? It's about in us too. I mean, it's understanding the network too, right? And kind of what Bitcoin brings as a network, like Bitcoin, the network, fam. I think that's what
So
again.
There's a
a
there's
whole nother section and a whole nother wormhole that obviously will go down. But I think it's just so crucial to bring up in the context of it all, just in terms of getting people to link the importance of not just the price fan, but eventually, right, what it's capable of. And even though folks will say, this and that of the potential of technology being broken, strong it is, fam, and what it's done and what it's overcome and what it continues to do and the power behind it. You know
yeah,
what I'm
like
saying? So,
for sure. And definitely that's another rabbit hole we can get into is
yep.
like, whether it can be a store of value, whether it can be, you can, transfer money at the speed of lightning and, no middleman, costs like, $1. You can send
Mm,
whatever, and you can do that all verified on the blockchain. Yeah, we can definitely get that down those wormholes, Victorious. But really like, and again, this is really not financial advice, and we're not trying to convince anyone, Victorious. When I heard you say that, like, we've done the knowledge, you know what I'm saying? We feel confident in doing what we're doing it. Um, but really it's just to say, hey, when if to go back to the game theory thing that you mentioned, like if this many people are in the game, wouldn't you at least want to have a piece of the game? So
right.
is it too expensive? 107,000, yes. Do you have to buy 107,000? No.
Mm.
Can you buy $10 a week? Yeah. Can you buy $5 a week? Yep. $25 a week? Yep. You know, we brown bag it, Victorious.
1000%.
Real talk. We brown bag it. Sometimes you got to make sacrifices here, for, and have that long time horizon. Victorious,
No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it.
you
I
got to have
mean,
that,
yeah,
4 year, 10 year, forever type of thing.
yeah, brown bag, fam, and even just things in general that, maybe you did before that you're just not doing,
Well,
you know.
when you talked about the Bitcoin network, that was one of the things in my head that I know you're talking about a different network, but instantly in my head,
Yeah,
I was thinking
be
about
whatever we
like,
want it to be.
you start moving different. You really do start moving different. Like the man CJ, the man Chris Johnson is talking about. He sold the G wagon. He sold the Rolexes. He sold the extra apartments. He sold the extra income. We don't need all that.
Yeah, right.
We don't need all that. We need assets. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like,
no, for sure.
of course you need a house to live in. Of course
Yeah, I was gonna
if
say
you
I
want
can't
nice.
sell too much because I need
Come
a
on,
roof.
you
I
got
mean,
to
if I
eat.
sell too
Come on,
much,
we don't want to get
I'll be,
crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like we're still trying to live, but at the same time, it's like,
yo,
man,
I got no shoes, yo, I got
oh
no,
yeah, I'm
no,
not walking around bare.
got no.
And again, but that's another thing too. Like, yo, if you can make some sacrifices now, Victorious, make some sacrifices now for the kids, for the 4 year, 10 year, like I
Mm,
said, forever type of thing. But
for
yeah,
sure, for sure, for sure.
this is, in closing, Victorious,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is Bitcoin too expensive? Not in my mind. Not in my mind.
Nah, 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 as that late night would say.
Nah. So no, we advise no financial advice here, but we suggest, hey, do your own knowledge, do what you get the price you deserve.
As
If
we
you
say,
think
buy
it's
pick, you'll get at the price you deserve.
what do you think though, Victorious? Do you think people should wait for it to come down?
Huh?
It's at
I,
107. Should we wait till it comes back under 100?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll be the first to tell you at some point. Yeah, it probably will.
It
Will it
probably
shoot right
will.
back up? 100% it
It
will.
probably
And
will.
when it probably will,
Is it going to
fam.
be a straight
Uh,
line? Is it going to be a straight line to 150 or 200 or 250? No.
yeah, but it's no different than what people have in their freaking portfolio at work and their retirement fund. They didn't even realize it. They realize after. It's like, wow, it went down. It's like you had no clue
No clue.
how down it's been really going, depending on which stock you are. Yeah, fam. Buy Bitcoin at the price that you see, and you'll get it at the price that you deserve.
Mm, that's it. That's it. So is it? That's the answer, Victorious. I think two resounding no's. It's not too expensive. Dollar cost DCA, like we've been saying. If it falls to under 100,000, an extra, $20 in there. Throw an extra $50 in there.
It'll be too expensive when you can't buy it anymore. Like when you just can't buy it on Coinbase. That's when it'll become.
We can get
It'll
into
be
chart for sure. We
you
can
know
get Victorious. Great. That's a great call right there. There's charts out there about people that's been holding, people buy and hold.
like there'll be the point where, yo, what happened? Like, yeah, I told you.
That's it.
I
There's
know
somewhere
there's
out there.
I know there's no more, but you had some.
Nobody wants to get rid of it. you
Yeah,
know?
at that, but by the time we get to that point, they'll be crapping themselves 'cause the price will be so through the roof. But either way, FM,
Unbelievable.
unbelievable.
So, hey, just make sure you get in the game. The game theory part, great call right there. Get in the game. Um, Hit us up if you have any questions, but we appreciate all the love and support on these quick hitters
Always,
here on this Bitcoin chat.
always.
Victorious, Javier, happy 4th of July. We'll catch those historical prices. We'll see what the historical price is this year. It was, 50, 63, call it 67, 57, who knows?
What are we
Around there.
closing out at? What are we closing out at, fam? We're closing out at 107,328.
There we go. There we go. 7 as we head into July here, 2025. Appreciate it. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.